Good afternoon, and welcome to another lackluster version of Diatribes from the Voice of Doom. Now here's your lackadaisical and lachrymose host, Voice of Doom. Hello. That explosion is very small compared to the one we're going to hear soon. But I figured I'd do a diatribe before I go to work, because I haven't done one in a few days. And I may not do that many from here on out, because I have to keep up on current events in order to comment on the idiocy and the insanity. And for the next year and a half, I don't see any evidence that there will be any news until the big thing happens. Now, I'll explain what I mean. It is May of 2023. The general election for the next so-called president of what used to be the United States will be in November of 2024, a full year and a half away. And that is all people can talk about on the news. That's all they talk about, is who threw their hat in the ring, what the polls say, what the implications of this are or that are, what the reaction is. And it's sickening to watch. And I'm not going to watch it. I'm getting ready to not watch Fox at all on YouTube, because there's nothing worth watching on there anymore except their horse race they got going for president, because that's the most important thing happening in our lives, is who's going to be president next. Will Orangey win and clean up the mess of Petri dish and start a whole new brouhaha of chaos? Or will DeSantis win, a voice of reason, who hates everyone, who hates minorities, who hates gays, who hates everybody, and turn this country into a Nazi regime? Now, speaking of Nazis, apparently a Nazi from India crashed his U-Haul into the gates of the White House. It didn't go any further, unfortunately. And they found a Nazi flag in his U-Haul, I guess. And everybody's talking about how this could be a red flag, it could be a red herring, it could be a red anything. And I see it as another distraction, just like this so-called presidential election. A distraction. Now, there could be something happening very quickly and very soon that will take everyone's minds off the petty, minuscule minutia which we're all concerned about. And it has to do with an explosion that could happen in Yellowstone, and it could happen soon. And I've been getting snippets and snappets off the news that things are happening down up there. I'll say up there. Now, Mount St. Helens erupted in, I believe, May of 1980. And it was a huge explosion, and it decimated the area. Now, Mount St. Helens is in an isolated area of southern Washington. And they had ample warning that they knew that the eruption was coming. They didn't say it might come. They didn't say in 1,000 years. They said it is coming. Everyone get the hell out. Now, to evacuate that area was not a big project, because it's isolated. The population is not dense. So people evacuated. The only people that stayed were the diehards that said, I've lived here all my life and I'm gonna die here. I'm not leaving. And that's the kind of bravado that ends up getting you vaporized. And they were vaporized. All the diehards died. But I use Mount St. Helens as an example of how big an explosion that was. If you look at the footage, it was devastating. I was very lucky that it happened in an isolated area. Now, Yellowstone National Park is in a more or less isolated area. There's very few towns, and the towns aren't populated densely. But I have serious doubts that if the powers that be know for a fact that a supervolcano is about to erupt in the northern part of what used to be the United States, I don't think they're going to go out of their way to tell people to evacuate. I think they're going to give little warnings that there's a lot of activity. They closed down, I believe, part of the national park. It's not accessible to people right now. And when they close down the whole park, I think that will be a good indication that you shouldn't be there. So you use your own your own intuition and your own feelings. I would not go to Yellowstone to visit. I would not go to Manhattan to visit. I would not go to DC to visit. Because even though the likelihood of an explosion happening while I'm there is small, I don't want to take the chance. So there's two different subjects here, and I'm just combining them for no good reason, just because I don't know what to say today. But I hope that Yellowstone explodes, and it'll be the kind of explosion that's once every 600,000 years. It's not going to be the kind of explosion that you can spin and blame the goppers or blame climate change. There won't be any time. There won't be any. You will be too busy panicking to worry about who to blame. You'll be worrying about surviving, because the explosion will decimate an entire region of what used to be the United States, and it will also cover the entire continent with ash, and the air will be blocked. The air will be full of ash. People will have a hard time breathing. The sunlight will be bounced away from us. We will go into a long winter period, and life as we know it on this planet will change. And all our little quibbles and quabbles about transgender ideology and who goes in what bathroom and who plays in what sport and whether or not white supremacy dominates this country, or what used to be, that'll all go by the wayside. Now, let's get back to this U-Haul attack. A Nazi from India, okay? It's just weird enough as it is. But this person was obviously delusional. He was going to get rid of Petri dish and take over the reins of power. Now, he has a good basis for pleading insanity during his trial already. And of course, he will be tried as a war criminal, and probably, the death penalty will be on the table because he crashed through the gate of the White House. That's obvious. They're going to make a big brouhaha out of this. But it's just very strange that would happen. Now, I saw a few other things. I'm trying to find news that has nothing to do with the so-called election, which there shouldn't be one. If there is one, then we're in big trouble. But that's all they talk about, so I immediately shut that off. I'm not going to waste my time looking at polls and talking about something that's going to happen a year and a half away, which may not happen. There may not be a year and a half from now, so I'm not going to worry about that. But I guess Petri dish gave a speech at Howard University, which is a historically black university. Okay. First thing he says is, the most dangerous thing in America today is white supremacy. That's the worst terrorist threat in what used to be our country that I've ruined. And he gives a campaign speech at a graduation ceremony where he told all the graduates that they were oppressed, and he told all the graduates from Howard, who are all people of color, that they don't have a chance because of the color of their skin. Now, the only person ranting about white supremacy is Petri Dish. Now, doesn't that tell you something? That he's the only one that believes that white supremacy even exists. And then we got the U-Haul guy with the Nazi flag, and he's a white supremacist who's from India. Now, I know a little bit about World War II, or at least the political dynamics of it. Schicklgruber was not necessarily a white supremacist. Yes, he believed that minorities were inferior, but he was equally disdainful of many, many white people. He did not just say, just because you're white, you're better than everybody else. I can mention a few groups that he didn't care for, that if you look at them, they're rather Caucasoid in complexion. So Nazism is National Socialism. He believed in German supremacy over everybody. Pure Germans. No mixes. That was his thing. So for them to conflate white supremacy with Nazism with some Indian guy with a U-Haul who's out of his mind, the only one that can do that is Petri Dish, because he lives in his own little world where white supremacy is very big, because he probably lives in 1953 at a lunch counter in Selma, Alabama. Now, I don't know if I'll be able to report much on the news. I'm not going to watch any more Fox. I think that all the main people on Fox should wait for their contract to run out and then resign. They've made plenty of money. They can get by fine if they never work again. And why would they want to work for some idiot organization that is so worried about what kind of news gets out and whether somebody's feathers are ruffled than telling people the truth? So if I was Harris Faulkner, if I was Campagno, if I was Gutfeld, if I was any of those people, I would wait for my contract to expire and then get the hell out of there and get the hell out of Manhattan if you want to live. And you can start your own podcast and you have your own name recognition. You've already got it made. People know who you are, and whatever venture you go for after that, whether it be gathering kindling or looking for roadkill to have dinner, whatever you're doing, you'll be able to do it because you have name recognition. So this is getting sickening. I want Yellowstone to go off. When it does, there's not going to be any spinach. There will not be any blame game. There will be a huge, 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 huge explosion that people in what used to be the United States are not used to. We're not going to be able to handle it. We will head right back to the cave, literally and figuratively, and it will be dog eat dog. And any communities that band together, well, they're going to have to barricade themselves and be sequestered in their own little groups. So the end is near. They don't call me Voice of Doom for nothing. I firmly believe in what I'm saying. I believe we're doomed, and I believe the wrath of God is nigh, because I can't tell you for sure if there is a God or not. I believe in something. I believe in some force of the universe which was way above us, but I don't know the nature of God, and until somebody explains that to me clearly, I won't know what to do about that. But if there is a God, he should give us the hammer We all deserve it, me included. I haven't done as well as I was hoping I would do. I haven't helped this planet as much as I could have. I could have done way more. So if I go up with everybody else, that's fine, because I believe that life is eternal. And I don't believe that I will be consigned to the depths of hell after I leave this mortal coil. So, bring it on. I hope Yellowstone goes up. I hope it happens before June 1st, because that's when the debt ceiling is reached anyway. So we may as well kill two birds with one stone, only we'll be killing billions of birds with many stones falling out of the sky. So I didn't say much, and I think I said a lot, but I just wanted to do a diatribe and enjoy what's left of history. And thank you.